Hey, oh,
No, I can't duplicate that. Can't
I,
duplicate.
I got caught
You're
off guard
way
on that.
way too good on me.
wait, we're not. Wait a minute, cool. Something's wrong. We're not on yet. Are we on? I got a delay on my own say. They've changed the system here, and I'm all confused. Fam, cool is arrived. I had to tell people cool. I had to tell people cool. Cool's coming. Hold on. This is the final night before the mock draft. The mock's in today. This is the final night before the real deal. Cool. How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing great. It's good to see you again, Ronbo.
Same here, fam. You know, it's funny. Cool and I were in communications the last few days, right? And since the 49ers jumped up and started talking like they was going to talk, Cool had to alter a few things, come back to where maybe the same page as a team.
I got
right?
mock draft 10.0 at this point. But no, I finally came to a conclusion that you kind of have to adjust with the times. I really know that they're focused in certain parts of the roster, so we'll break it down and I'll tell you what I really think they're going to do.
Exactly what I want to hear too. Cool. When you're ready, yeah, it's all yours. Take it away.
Well, as far as the way the situation is, I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, you're looking at the three big wide receivers that can go anywhere from, I don't know, anywhere from 9 up until 15. Those
True.
three, slotted in between that. And I'm sure that Minnesota, Green Bay are two of the teams that want to move up to grab one of these wide receivers. I personally think that the best fit for them out of those three would be Ruggs. And I don't know. I think the Raiders, I know it's just my gut feeling. I believe the Raiders are the ones that are going to probably end up taking Ruggs right before us. And then this is
cool. The narrative is running wild right now. Every analyst, every expert, everybody in the NFL saying, Ruggs, it's with Ruggs, it's between Oakland, it's between Vegas and San Francisco. The 49ers know this. The Raiders, somebody's going to do something crazy. How bad do they want him is the question.
Well, I think it's going to be payback for us taking McGlinchey, and they had to settle for, the tackle from UCLA. But all things put aside, I mean, I think that if Ruggs is not there, either you need to trade out of that spot, and a good team to probably trade with might be, Miami, who has multiple picks, inside the first 2 or 3 rounds, or you can go and. This is another hopeful is if Kinlaw is on the board, because I think that personally, I think that they really need to focus on their defense, because you heard for the last couple of days that they want to think about, getting rid of Quan Alexander, D Ford. And that's just telling me that, it's a salary cap issue that could come down the line. But I'm not sold on D Ford to be a guy who's going to play all 16 games and play at a high level. I mean, even when he was with Kansas City, he couldn't. He had 1 year where he actually played, a good amount of games. So I personally am counting on him not to be at full go for each and every game this coming year. So you really need to bolster that defensive line, and I think that Kinlaw is one of those guys that can help them do that. There's also, there's other situations that we can do. We can, maybe sign a free agent as like Snacks Harrison or a player like that. But you need to bolster that defensive line, because kidding aside, that's what makes our defense work. That's what makes, the corners be as good as they are. And and I'm not really sold on a lot of the cornerback class. Because like for CJ Henderson, he's a good cover guy, but I think he's scared to tackle.
Everybody says that. Everybody said we
So
cannot have that. Yeah.
so I will break down, who I think is the a good corner that will fit our system, and that he might be available if we can trade down. I don't know which way you want to go with this, but we can start with the number 13 pick and hoping that Javon Kinlaw, that maybe he'll be available, and then if not, I mean, then it's a crapshoot. I mean, I would think that trading down would be the ultimate situation for them, and maybe they hold on to the number 31 pick and trade the 13 and get, maybe get a late first round pick and maybe a second and maybe a fourth, as far as compensation for that.
Okay.
Um,
All right.
as far as wide receivers, I mean, you got those three wide receivers,
The Golden Boys. Yeah.
the Golden Boys, but then you got another tier right below that. I mean, you got Justin Jefferson, you got just Jalen Rager, you got Laviska Shenault, you got a guy named Brandon Ayuk, who I think is probably the perfect guy who can fit Shanahan's system, and he should maybe be available maybe at the number 31 pick. He's a game changer, and we primarily go for speed, and then speed kills. And so if you can get a speed guy like that can make big plays and can play opposite of Debo, that's what we're basically looking for. But I mean, that everything is interchangeable with the Shanahan system. So we just gotta, we gotta roll with the punches, and we gotta see what we can get at 31. But I really truly believe that he will be there at 31. But after that tier of wide receivers, because for instance, the second tier of wide receivers, there's not a lot of separation. To be honest with you, I mean, they're just the 30 Golden Boys you're talking about is just because you play in the big, a big wide, big name program, and those are the guys that shine. And I think that you can get a good wide receiver in the fifth round. I mean, and like Lynch said, you can get a starting fifth round wide receivers on your team, and I'll bring a name to you at that point when we get down to that. As far as since we're going from the first round and we're going into the fifth round because we have that big gap of space, in the draft, I think that we really need to focus, on the offensive line, and the offensive line, we need a guy who can do that zone blocking. And I think the perfect guy, if he's available at number 156, is Shane Lemieux from Oregon, because that's what they do at Oregon. They do a lot of zone blocking, and so he would be able to come in and just fit right into that system. And I'm telling you, between the center and the right guard, we truly have somebody who's willing to work for that job, because that job is wide open. And that's another reason why trading down and maybe getting another late first or early second pick, there's a couple really good guards or / center that can maybe fit into our system. So
let me get you to hold up just for a second. I forgot to remind you, if you have a question, remember, you know the playbook. Hashtag Q question. Hashtag Q question. All right, continue.
Okay, well, all right. Well, another, like I said, we're talking about the fifth round, and then, at pick 176, which is a late fifth round pick, I got Quez Watkins. Now, he's from Southern Mississippi. He's a wide receiver. He's a pretty big target, pretty decent speed, and I think that he will probably be there in the fifth round. And so you got to look at we need to make a massive change, at the wide receivers, because I'm not really sold on Pettis. We know the situation is with Goodwin. Goodwin, I think he's basically he's gone because we can't rely on him. And I really hate to say that because he's really a nice guy. I met him, he did a camp with some kids that over here at Travis Air Force Base last year. So he's a really nice guy, but
he is.
He can, and he's had a personal tragedy, and I met him and his wife, and I just, I hope the best for him, but right now he's not doing what we need him to do is be healthy and be available. So I think as far as Quez Watkins, I mean, we know how Richie James came out and he really showed that he was worthy of being on the roster. So we need a late round guy that can come in and do things that can make the roster and possibly do something special teams. I mean, any way you need to be seen, that's how you got to get on board and do things. You got to get on board and be all about what can I do to make this team better. And I really believe that Shanahan has a big pocket loaded with stuff that will make a receiver better. We got probably the best wide receiver coaches in the NFL between Wes Welker and Austin, and Miles Austin. So I think that you can get a guy that's from small school, and I'm going to give you a name right now that if he's around, also would be a home run hitter for us, and that's Antonio Gandy Golden from Liberty. He's a big play wide receiver. I think what you guys should do is go on YouTube, go on there, look for Antonio Gandy Golden from Liberty, and check out his tape, man. I mean, he reminds me a lot of what T.O. Can do. I mean, even though you're playing against lesser competition, there's no doubt that the talent is there. So we're going to have to maximize what we can do from the fourth, if we can get a fourth round pick, all the way into the seventh round. So those picks got to count at the back end. And I know that they do very good scouting. Peters is a great scout, and, we're able to get, we've been hitting a lot on the undrafted free agents between Breida and Mostert and guys like
Mosley?
that. Mosley. Yeah, exactly. And as far as who would have thought that Kendrick Bourne would shine like that. I mean, he played opposite of Cooper Kupp, at college, in college. And I mean, he was basically an afterthought in the NFL and never got drafted. So we are very fortunate to have guys, that can, look at talent in a different perspective, once the draft is over, and get some guys in here that not only good camp guys for OTAs and all that, but willing to push the guys who currently are actually on the roster, and they can sometimes win over a job.
And bring the best out of them. I mean, like you mentioned, Kendrick Bourne. Look, Kendrick Bourne played a good role, a huge role last year. Mosley played an incredible role. In fact, Mosley, coming down the stretch, may be the reason why we got to that point we got to. He made some key plays at certain times against the Hawks. If Mosley doesn't come into that game, cool, we are dead meat. They were using a Keller Witherspoon like a pick handle. Whew. But comes in, puts the fire out, keeps us in position to win the game. We do it. I can't think of enough. But then in the Super Bowl, he had a brain fart. But it's okay. He learned.
Well, that stuff will happen. Nothing is ever perfect. But this is why it's very vital. I think they really need to go defensive line. There's some good players out there. I mean, Neville Gallimore, defensive tackle from Oklahoma. Now he might be, in the second round. If we can trade into the second round, I think he'll be there. I mean, he's a big body. But we, between DJ Jones and Julian Taylor, which, we haven't talked about Julian Taylor for a while, but I think that if that guy can stay healthy, he can make a difference, on the defensive line. And I think the weak point of this is that can D Ford actually play a full season? He's had a big problem with tendonitis throughout his career. So
Oh,
I'm really not sold on him to be
scary.
there on 16 games. So, and that's why I want to get to the seventh round, and I got a guy that that possibly that we can get in here, and with the right coaching, get him up to speed, and that's Derek Tuska. He's from
Ah,
North Dakota State.
I
He
like
is
him. Yes.
he is an edge rusher. He has a lot of grit. He reminds me a lot of, if you watched the Raiders last year, that Max Crosby. He reminds me a lot of him. I mean, he's got a lot. He's a big guy that has a motor. We're talking about a 6'5", 270-pound guy who has a motor and who's relentless. Now, of course, yeah, he's played in a conference, North Dakota State, which is not a name brand conference,
Yeah.
but you see the talent is there, and if you can get, if you get some coaching behind it, I mean, we might have something there. I mean, and don't discount Ronald Blair. I mean, because I think that,
Yeah. It's
just
all about his
re-signing
health.
him,
Yeah.
yeah, they need they need a backup plan. They really need a backup plan for D Ford. And if
But see,
what,
but
I'll
cool.
be honest with you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say though, Tuska, no, where he's from, he grew up in that area, right? He says NFL. The only thing next to the NFL is going to North Dakota State. So other schools were begging him, please, would you come to this school? There's some big name schools that wanted him. He wanted to play there. So he has big school talent. He just didn't want to leave. He's just a country boy. I
Right.
want
I
him.
mean,
Yeah.
you, you watch his tape. Watch that tape on YouTube, man. I mean, the
I
guy
saw
is
him.
relentless, and and I think that a lot of people, I mean, they all know about him, but because of all the other talent and the wide receiver talent and the tackles and all that, they might push him down the sixth or seventh round.
Oh,
And I mean, if we can,
I hope so. Because that's a third, between you and I, we'll be lucky. That's a third round pick,
yeah,
GM. Maximum third.
yeah,
He could be a low
he's got
second.
third, fourth round talent. Yeah, he
Yeah.
definitely does.
Ooh,
And
next second coming to TJ. Whoa.
And then we can never discount having running backs. I mean, I know we have a plethora of running backs, but we don't have one of these guys, like a Darren Sproles type running back. So I think that, the last pick that we have, the seventh round pick, I believe that J.J. Taylor, who's like he's probably like 5'6", 5'7", really, a scat back. He's like a Darren Sproles type. I think we need to bring in a guy like that, someone that's gonna change and give us a different look, so that that Kyle can kind of use some of you have all these different type of guys, and I think that to be that small and to be able to catch out of the backfield and you know I think we need to have a change of pace. And also, but I do really think that Jeff Wilson is essential, or a big back is essential. I think we need to have a plethora, different type of backs. We need to have that small
Diversity.
back move.
Yeah.
Yeah, versatile type of running attack. So, I mean, and between McKinnon, I'm really not thinking that Tevin Coleman is going to be on this roster. But if they would have cut him before April 1st, then that would have been no dead money. Now, I think it'll probably be a couple $1 million to cut him down, unless they can trade him to another team. So,
And
that's
the
if
thinking
Jack
behind it.
McKinnon is truly truly healthy, I don't think Coleman is going to make it, into the preseason. I think he'll be gone. And so, this is the time to reload and get some pretty decent talent, and even if we have to stash them away, on the practice squad, because now that the practice squad is more players now, it's going to go from 10 to 14. You'll be able to stash a couple extra players on that roster, for future, homecomings there.
Yeah,
So
yeah. When you say you talk about the old playbook, 49ers every year they put you on the IR, or you go to. We lost last year. We lost Smith because we put him on the practice squad, which is always scares me when you put the wrong talent on the practice squad, that other people pick him up. But yeah, if he shows up and does well in camp, then of course. But it's going to be really funny this year. Cool. You're not going to be able to observe preseason camps like we have in the past. Hopefully we do, but it looks right now the way COVID-19 is working us, it's going to take a while to get things back in normal order. And I'm hoping by the summer they can get the guys back out on the field, maybe hold at least 2 preseason games. But it's looking scary right now. So, yeah, these things.
Well, I think I really think that everything will get back to normal. It's just going to take a little bit of time, and that's the hardest part. I mean, remember when we had that lockout season, and Jim Harbaugh came in and he didn't know what he really had in that first year. I mean, it was his first year, but he got the team to play. We came in 13-3, so a lot of it has to do with coaching and having guys who are prepared. It's all about being prepared. It's like taking a test to make sure you study, the night before. So if you can get guys that are, in the house, so to speak, and prepared, you can come out and you can do things. It might take a little bit of a while of getting these guys to all mold and mold all together, but I think it is truly possible. And the main thing is that your playbook, because
See, there's
Kyle
the problem
has
right
a
there.
huge playbook.
Yeah.
So you got to get the
And
playbook
for
into
rookies,
their
that's going to be
hands.
tough. Yeah.
Exactly. But
But
I think they have the coaching, and I think that with the coaching, they can get it done. It's you got to bring guys who are willing to learn.
Yeah, they're going to be virtual classrooms, right? And they'll probably start holding those as early as next week after the draft, right? And try to bring those guys up to speed as much as they can through, like we're doing now, through Zoom and every other social platform they can use to communicate with the players. So that's going to be interesting. But see, this is why TC, and some people will argue it, but TC, any veteran, has value right now because he doesn't need a lot of bringing up to speed. You're bringing a lot of kids that have never had an NFL snap before. They could struggle at the beginning of the season, but you bring in a guy, TC may have value to another team if you say, listen, we'll give you TC for a third-round pick. 49ers could be using it, or they just go ahead and hold on to TC. But Matty B saying today he feels confident that he will remain with the 49ers, and he wants another shot at getting to the Super Bowl to prove his worth. A lot of conversation there. Why would he think that? Why would he speak that out in public?
Well, you have to believe in yourself.
Yeah.
And you got to remember, football, you got to have talent, but you also have to be tough mentally, because a lot of what you do, mental wise, is who you are. That's why you see a lot of these guys who are undrafted. Yeah, you think that my talent is not there, but I'm going to show you, and I will prove to you that I'm worthy of being on the NFL roster. So you got guys that mentally, got their mind together, and they're out to prove a point. And so I think that if he can focus on, securing the football, because that was his issue last year, fumbles, and at times, it could kill them. Turnovers are bad. This was probably, last year was like the first year that we actually looked like super extra positive on the turnover ratio, because for the last 3 or 4 years, I mean, we were rock bottom. We couldn't even produce a turnover. So now that we get the right coaching, we get the right mentality, and we got to hold on to the football. You know, the more footballs you can get, and the less you give up, your opportunity for winning
Increase your
is
chances.
substantially better. Yeah.
There you go. Cool. Hole. I'm going to run down through your mock, and Cool explained everything as he went very well for his picks. First round pick at 13. It's defensive tackle Javon. I want to be a 49er Kinlaw, as you know he's already said. South Carolina. And also the second first round pick at number 31, wide receiver Brandon Ayuk, Arizona State. The only reason Brandon says the only reason why I didn't get a lot of spotlight last year is because N'Keal Harry was about everything, anything as far as Arizona football. But he is a good football player. And in the fifth round pick, 156, guard Shane Lemieux out of Oregon. Since Shane is already probably pretty much ready to fall in line with what the 49ers do. It wouldn't take a lot of teaching. Kyle probably wants guys that they're not going to have to start from scratch, and I guess Shane would fit that bill. Sixth round pick at 176, another wide receiver, Kez Watkins, South Mississippi. And the sixth round pick in 210. And this is the thing. 49ers are probably going to be needing to, everybody's talking about how we need to get George Kittle a little help here. Nobody's saying anything bad about Ross Dwelly, but if we could just get a little bit above Ross and put ourselves in fine position, because George is not going to be able to sustain a long career if he's out there playing like he's playing right now with lots of bumps and bruises and things and taking up all the attention. He could become more effective if there's another guy next to him that scares the defense as much as he does. Now you've got something going with those dual tight end sets, right? So Devin Asiasi, UCLA,
Yeah.
big man, too. That's why I like him, too. The seventh round pick at 217, going from the edge. Derek, I only go to this school because I want to stay in Dusek. I read about him. I couldn't stop laughing. Here's a dude. This dude is straight up country. If you've ever played ball before, you've played with those kind of guys, and they're the most hilarious dudes, but will run through a brick wall. And the thing is, they can go unnoticed because of their attitude about certain things. You know, this is the meat and potatoes, guys. Every day you try to talk him into vegetarian, he'll kill you. Derek, I like this dude a lot. And it's
I truly do also. I truly
running
do also.
Running back J.J. Taylor, Arizona. Well, cool. All right. Well thought out draft. Let's get those questions at you. Flux Gaming wants to know, what if we trade number 13 to the Broncos for 15, and their third, we draft C.J. Henderson and Delpit, then worry about the wide receiver in the later rounds? What do you think about that? Because if we don't get the wide receiver we want at 13, do we just bail and start doing some of the other strategic things that might benefit the team? What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, I truly think that those three, the top three, are actually, everybody's going to probably throw arrows at me, but I don't think any one of those three guys are Shanahan's wide receiver. I really don't. I think everything's a smokescreen. I believe that there's guys like Jalen Reagor and Ayuk and you can go further down the line. I mean, there's the kid from Notre Dame. I think that is one of those guys that might actually be a Shanahan guy. And so I think everything's a smokescreen. And I think that, and I really think that, trying to think what they're thinking, I think they really want to get somebody on the defensive line. And I because this, it creates even a better situation for them. If they can get and keep that pass rush like it was last year, it makes the corners even better. And then you don't have to get one of these so-called top-notch corners that, been rated by each and everybody doing a mock draft. I mean, to me personally, I would rather have a guy like Jalen Johnson from Utah, because I think he's got dog in it. He's like a carbon copy of what Sherman is. He's not 6'3", but he's 6'1". But the guy will go out, he'll go up and he'll hit, he'll tackle. And you need a guy like that. I think that guys like C.J. Henderson, yeah, you got cover skills, but if you don't have any pass rush, then what use is a cover corner going to actually do for you? So you need a good pass rush, but then you also need, I think, the most important thing is guys that are going to be tough like Sherman, guys like Jalen Johnson that are going to come up to you and hit you in the mouth and go in and make those tackles. You need to keep that mentality
Smash
of like
mouth football.
We're gonna hit you. So that's
know,
where I would go. I mean, if I was gonna trade back, I want to get some second and third round picks. So
you know, cool. And right, in fact, the 49ers right now are, because I'm a huge, I want Henry Ruggs so bad for the speed he brings to the table and what he can do to open up that offense. But the thing is, the 49ers have slayed a trap. I'm looking down the dailies today. It's all about the 49ers versus the Raiders for Henry Ruggs. God, it's not Ruggs. It's not Ruggs. And for the suckers that don't know, including the Raiders, I don't know why the Raiders are being baited, but the 49ers are definitely up to something.
yeah, they are. They are.
Every
But
analyst
you know what?
is saying Ruggs versus 49ers and Raiders.
I don't see it. I think they're trading out. I think they're trading at 13 pick, and I think they're going to try to get a late first round pick out of that and get either some second or third round picks and bolster the roster.
Man, okay. And if you want to call right now, go ahead, call in if you want to address Cool directly. Cool. Let me give you this question from Corey McGlinty. Where'd you get the jersey? Have you had that for a while? Or just get that?
No, I've had it. It's Kaepernick.
Yeah, I also was gonna say he's probably had it for a while since Kaepernick's time, right? All right.
Oh yeah.
All right. Where'd you get that? I guess maybe it's a style and tailoring that people like too. You picked
Well,
it up
it's
online? Mall?
yeah, I got it online. It's one of those flash out or whatever. I don't know the term for it, but it definitely is different. So I'm kind of one of those guys that I like to have something different. And so I saw it, I liked it, and Kaepernick. I mean, we can keep on going back and back and back about it, but I think that we're in the time frame now where we're living for now. So
There you go.
I'll just leave it at that.
I think people just like that jersey. They just want to know where you got it. But you're right. We'll move on. Indian Boy says, now why take Kinlaw at 13 instead of the big three? You kind of go ahead and run over it again because you kind of explained that. But go ahead.
Well, I personally think that they know, and they will tell you that they know that there's wide receivers, in the second round, third round, all the way up to the fifth round. And I think that those three guys are not the three guys. Any one of those three guys are not what they say is a 49er wide receiver. Those are not those guys. I would be shocked, even if one of those guys fell into their lap, that they would take him. I think they're either going to get a defensive tackle or they're trading out of that pick and trading down because I just don't see it. And I'll tell you, we can talk about it after it happens because I know it's going to happen. I truly believe they're going defensive tackle, and there's really the debate is that they're going to get a wide receiver. They might get two wide receivers, but they won't be at number 13. They won't.
But you know what? Here's the thing. It's Kinlaw at 13. I don't think Kinlaw's going to get past the Jack. It depends on what happens to Derek Brown. It's really, wow. This is, because I'm looking down the dailies. Every other one is talking about the 49ers and the Raiders. The Raiders got the first choice. Why do the 49ers want the Raiders to go ahead and pick Ruggs? Because they wouldn't put that information out there like that. They didn't say anything about Bosa toward the last few minutes. And that's why I knew it was Nick. But now, 49ers, everybody knows the 49ers want Ruggs. I said, what? No.
No, it's a smokescreen.
Something.
It's a smokescreen. There's something up. Trust me, there's something up. They cannot go through this draft without having second and third round picks. And number 13 will get them to that spot. They need multiple picks in the first 3 rounds. And because at the very top of the first 2 or 3 rounds are players that they can probably fit in and maybe start, or they're really capable backups right away. I mean, we have to address the offensive line. I mean, what about tackle? What about getting somebody Joe Staley's replacement? You got to think about that too. And I think that if they get in the second round, they can get a guy that will actually be able to take over for Staley. Or, I mean, let's just say this. I mean, I think Seattle's probably going to go Cesar Ruiz, but I think he's one of those guys that maybe the 49ers need to look into, because Richburg I'm glad that he restructured his contract for salary cap reasons, but he is not a guy who's going to play, just like D Ford. He's not going to play all 16 games. It is proven. Yeah. And then, you can get Ruiz and he can play right guard too. So, yeah. I mean, he would be actually he would be more of a need to me, because if running back and the running attack is our bread and butter, you need guys that are going to push the line, because when it's all said and done, everything is won in the trenches. So you need to get a guy, like Ruiz, that's going to be, you can put him in there for 10 years and he's right there.
There you go. Cool. We got more questions. I like that answer. Let me get now. Here's the thing about Kinlaw. He's had some negatives that he's attached to by some people. Why Kinlaw? He got put on his back from Cushenberry. He's not the real deal. Small motor, takes plays off, rest on bench. He can't beat Armstead or DJ out. Defoe was far better. You can get help in the second round. Is Kinlaw a reach? In some people's minds, he really is. I like him just because he went public with saying that he wants to be a 49er. But if you go past your emotions, do you really judge him that highly? I mean, because you like him, but give me some more reasons why you might like him so much.
Well, I like the mentality. He has the mentality to be, defensive tackle. And I think that, if you're, playing on our defense, you see Bosa, you see guys like Armstead, you see that, and then you got Sherman, who is actually the leader of the defense. That those kind of guys will make your play, will rub off on you. And I think that if they can get him in there, and then we know Kasarik is one of the best defensive line coaches. I mean, I think that you can put him in there, and between him and DJ Jones, I think that they can make an impact right there in the middle. So, I mean, if he's there, he's there. But I mean, I think a good backup plan is, Gallimore from Oklahoma State, and we could probably get him in the second round. That's why I think that it's vital that they might even have to trade down maybe twice and get maybe 3 number 2 picks. I mean, because I think that for them to replenish their roster and to keep everything in control, the salary cap control, you can get some talent, but you can also get guys who can play right away. Second and third round is where, I think they're going to be eaten there on the second and third round. So I would not be surprised at all if they traded at number 13. They might even trade 31. But I think I definitely know they're trading out of the first round with one of those picks, maybe both, because they can get a lot more for their money, in the second and third round.
Yeah, and not have to. Yeah, because you said the 13th pick could be traded down to who? Did you say Miami, or did you say?
Well, Miami's got a lot of picks. They've got throughout the whole draft. I mean, they got, multiple second round picks. I think they got a couple third round picks.
They've been pretty bad.
And or the 49ers can do what Seattle's been doing the last couple of years, is they trade and then they keep on compiling picks. But I think that if they can get within the first 3 rounds, if they can get 5 picks out of that, or 4 picks in the first 3 rounds, I think that's the goal, because that's where you're going to get your talent to replenish the roster with pretty good talented players, and then this will also help their salary cap situation as well going down the line.
All right. Now, Flux Gaming wants to know, he said, would you trade pick 13 back to pick 15 and a 3rd round of the Broncos will draft Henderson and Delpit? Did we get that question earlier? Henderson and
Delpit, that's been brought up. That's been brought up.
Yeah, Henderson.
That's been on social media.
Remember, Henderson's got Henderson is a good cover guy, but Henderson, remember Kello Witherspoon when he first came and everybody kept start questioning his machismo? Although Kello started actually tackling.
He got better.
Weeks.
He got better.
Yeah, later after he really got chewed up in the first year, but and also in Delpit, nobody talks about. This is the first time I've seen Delpit's name on this chat in a while. Well, is Delpit actually a safety that anybody? We need a box more than we do, because I think Tavares Moore and Jimmy Ward have got that free safety max. If we would need anything, it'd be an SS, not an FS. What do you think on that?
Well, I mean, we can always use a safety. I mean, there's a kid, at a small school, Kyle Lugger, that I think that he would actually be there in like the 3rd round. And not too many people really know about him, but I mean, he's a guy that could come in, in the 3rd round, because he's been rated as high as high 2nd round pick. But there's a lot of talent, at safety. I mean, we all know about Winfield Jr., and I think that Winfield Jr., if I was going to draft the safety, that's the safety I would want to get, because not only is he going to hit you, but the mentality. You need to have a certain mentality to play that position. And I think that Winfield Jr. is one of those guys that will come in and he'll hit you and hit you and hit you. And, he does. I mean, he's an exact clone of what his dad was, just really physical guy. And I mean, if I was going to trade down, that's the guy I would
be targeting,
want to focus on is Winfield Jr. But yeah, there's a couple really good safeties. Chin is another guy that could go high 2nd, but he's not he's about the same size as Winfield Jr. I mean, these guys are 5'10", 5'11", but they come and hit you. And that's what you need. You need that mentality. So they would not shock me. But as far as cornerback is concerned, I don't know. I'm just not sold on CJ as our starting corner. I mean, we need a guy who's going to come up and hit you too. Come up, be able to tackle. Tackling is the number one thing you got to do on this defense. Especially whatever position you play.
And including the secondary, especially the secondary. Because, one thing I like about Mosley, not a big dude, but Mosley gets in their face. I don't care what size they are. Remember that big tight end he ran out of bounds? He ran what's Minnesota's premier tight end? Mosley caught the dude way in front of the line, first down marker, escorted him by the waist, thrown out of bounds. I said, you know what? That's brilliant. You can't bring him down, then make a business decision. He ain't going down. I'm going to run his butt out of here, though. See, I like that intelligence. I was impressed. So, anyway. Hey, you know what? That's going to be the end of the question. So, cool. I tell you what, good stuff, fam. Anything you want to say in closing?
No, I mean, I just think that, there's a lot of smoke screens out there. And I think that, when it's all said and done, we might get one pick. We might not get no picks tomorrow night. But, I know that, you have to trust the process. And I think that you need to understand that they need multiple players. They don't need one player to do this. They need multiple players. And so if I can trade that one really good pick for a couple really decent picks,
Yep.
on day two, you have to do what you have to do, because it's not. I mean, I would rather have two really good guys instead of one great guy, because there's only a couple of guys that are going to change somebody's team. A guy like Chase Young and maybe Simmons. Those guys are game changers. Just like Bosa was a game changer last year. There's not very many guys that are going to come in and just take the league by storm.
Exactly.
But
and I got to tell you, Cool, I was hoping, and it's a pipe dream. I kept saying, take 12, because Washington's talking crazy too. We'll trade the second round, the second pick. I said, 49ers, take 13 and 31, give it to Washington, and please get Chase Young. See, because like you're saying, you're already thinking about D's got one more year left, I figure, that he can even play. If he's out there on crutches and wheelchair this year, I'm going to be very upset. So you bring Chase Young in. If we can't get Tusick later, because I'm worried about Tusick too, I said, get Chase. We're set for the next decade. Oh, him and Nick will rule the NFL indefinitely. Oh, God. You just got to worry about the paydays.
I'm willing to say this right now. I mean, if you can get a fourth round pick, that's when you try to make that move for Tusick, because even though a lot of people have him on the board going from the 5th to the 7th round, if you really believe in that player, you got to go get him. I think he would be the biggest sleeper in this draft.
He is,
because I think he is. And I'm glad you know what I know about this guy. I think he's got star written on his face. I mean,
as soon as I seen him,
I truly believe it.
Whatever ties him to Dakota, bring that. If it's his mom or something, bring her too, and set him up somewhere. Because he did not have to go to that school. It was his choice. He got drafted. I forgot the list. I said, what? Why did he stay in the coach? Well, around here, this is like, I think that stadium holds an incredible amount of fans, and they pack it. But when you're in a place like North Dakota, there's nothing else to do unless you want to go out and watch the cows rolling around, the beef rolling around out there.
Right.
So, yeah. God. Anyway, that is a talent that's got to be got. Kind of reminds me of T.J. Watt. I said, this dude is T.J. Watt Jr.
Yeah, well, he look on film. He does look like T.J. Watt. To be honest with you, he does really make a huge appearance on film for sure.
Well, cool. I tell you what. We wait tomorrow. It's going to be interesting to see what percentage of what you did here today is going to come into fruition. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. It's crazy. Oh wait, it says. Question 6 says, tell Koolwhippzz, good effort. It ain't easy. Betting on everyone. He's got an opinion. See you next year, bro. Go Niners. Question 6. Good stuff. Here you go, Cool.
All righty.
Let me give that a holler out, Cool, before we say goodnight. Cool, you want to join me? Go ahead, man. But if anybody sleep, don't get crazy. 3, 2, 1. Niners! For the Koolwhippzz and another mock draft. Night Cool. And fam, we're going to, in about